Alright, in this video we're looking at lesson 23, collisions in code.org. And basically collisions, it's really checking to see if objects are touching each other and whether they kind of connect. So this is actually part 2 and it's the first of the skill building. So it says, I've just kind of skipped over the first part, but it says do this. Try out your plan from level 1 to program the giraffe to push the monkey off the screen. Well, what we want to do then is we want to change the velocity of the monkey when the giraffe is touching it, essentially. So right now we have the giraffe moving across the screen, and then it's probably not going to do anything right here. It just kind of moves right on by it. So what we want to do is when we hit that, when the giraffe hits the monkey, we want the monkey to move. All right, so we're first going to need an if statement here. So we're going to drag this out. And then we need to use this new option that we have here, is touching. And essentially what you do with this is you type in the two different objects that you have. So we have a giraffe and we have a monkey. So let's go ahead and type that giraffe in, and then let's go ahead and type in the monkey. Okay. So if the giraffe that's moving across the screen happens to touch the monkey, well, what we want it to do is we want to change the velocity of the monkey, because currently the monkey has no velocity whatsoever and it's just sitting there. So what we want to do is increase that velocity. So let's go ahead and we'll add monkey down here, and we'll just go ahead and change the velocity to 1. Okay. So now what should happen is as the giraffe moves across the screen, once it touches the monkey, it's going to say, hey, if the giraffe is touching the monkey, let's see what happens. And now it moves across the screen. And if we wanted to, we kind of related it to this velocity with the giraffe. We could make it faster if we wanted to. We could make it 2 and it would move quicker, but this is essentially what we're looking for. If the giraffe is touching the monkey, just the two names of the variables, then we want that monkey's variable to change. Okay? All right, let's move on to part 3. Okay, so in part 3 now, we have write your own sprite interaction. Now the elephant should push the hippo off the screen. Notice that the elephant moves at a random y velocity each time the program runs. Okay, so really what we want to do, and what we want to do is have, once it's touching it, we want that character to move at the same velocity. So here, I'll show you how to set this up. So down in our draw loop down here, you got to make sure you always place them in here too. If you place these if statements outside of this, they will not work. It's got to be in the draw loop, because we need to have the loop keep running over and over and over and check to see if that if is going to be met. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and is touching, and we're going to say that this is, oops, this is elephant, and is touching the hippo. So now what we want is we want the hippo's velocity to change. And what we did previously, we just gave it 1. However, what we really want it to do is match what the velocity is of the elephant. So we can drag this out here. Now see how we have the equal sign? Well, what we can do is just draw in another, oh, we don't want y, we want x actually, because I think they're moving up. Yes. Okay, so we got an error because I have an incomplete if statement down here. So we're going to go ahead and draw a while, or a sprite in there, and then the velocity for the y here. And we're going to say that we want the hippo to match the elephant, because essentially what we want to do, so this is a little bit different than what we did before. We just typed in a number to match, but however, because of the random number going on here, this could be different each time. And if we plugged in a random number, well, it might not be the same. So if we just tell it that we want it to be equal to what that is, that will work. And because it's inside the if, it will only happen when they touch. So let's go ahead and try this. And now we're moving a little slower, and they still go the same. All right, let's move on to the next part. All right, so in part 4 here, we have a new block, this displace, which is going to kind of operate the same as what changing the velocity and things like that. If we run it right now, we have that the hippo displaces the elephant. But let's take a look here We have the type interaction from the previous level is so common. There's a block for it. Yep, the displace. Someone tried to use the displace block to make the elephant push the hippo, but there's a bug. So let's run the program, see what's happening. Take a look at the new block and how is it being used, and fix the block so that the elephant is pushing the hippo. Well, pretty simple. If you look down here, we have hippo displace elephant. If we were just to switch these, let's take a look and see if that fixes it for us. Yeah, now the elephant is displacing the hippo. All right, so that one's a pretty simple one. Just make sure in this instance, the second character is the one that's being moved, and the first one is the one that's actually creating the movement. All right, let's take a look at the last one. Okay, so this is the last skill building activities, part 5 of lesson 23 here. So real quick, this is just going over the 3 different types of collision blocks. And it says we're going to do the sprite.collide, sprite.bounce, and sprite.bounce off. How do you think they all affect the sprites? So down in the loop here, we're just going to try them out. So we have displace, right? But let's go ahead and remove that, and let's try bounce. Okay, so we're going to have parrot and penguin. And then we can just see, how does this one interact? So here's our parrot hitting our penguin, and they just bounce off of each other. Okay, so let's take a look at, what were the 3? Collide. So let's take a look at collide. Again. Oops. Did I spell parrot? Oh, 1 T. 1 extra there. Now when we run it this time, let's see what happens. And then they just collide, and because, you know, if the parrot collides with the penguin, then the penguin's gonna, and actually it goes into, yeah, moves it along. All right, and let's try once more, bounce off. Now if you had all 3 of these in here, that would affect the code quite a bit. So we want to just leave them each individual. Okay. Oh my goodness, I did 2 T's again. Let's try that. There you go. So that's how you can try those 3 and see which ones work best for you. All right, hopefully that helps you with your coding, and good luck.